All right, let's do this thing. In the late 1500s, England dreamed of empire. While Spain basked in the riches of the New World, England burned with envy. They yearned for gold, for power, for land across the sea, and so they sent out explorers to find a place they could call their own, a place where they could thrive, or at least survive. They sailed to the east coast of what we call North Carolina today. There, amidst the wild beauty of the Outer Banks, an idea took root. It was an idea of a settlement, of a colony that would be England's foothold in the New World, a beacon of civilization in the untamed wilderness. They named it Roanoke Colony. More than 100 men, women, and children set foot on the island. They were English, mostly poor farmers and laborers who'd heard tales of a better life across the ocean. They had dreams of fertile lands, of adventure, of freedom. But they also carried burdens of a life left behind, of debts and obligations and hopes for a new start. When they landed, they found a world both wondrous and harsh. Lush forests teeming with life, yes, but also biting insects and deadly snakes. Gentle breezes and warm sunshine, yes, but also raging storms that toss the sea like a cauldron. They were far from home, from everything they'd ever known. And yet they pressed on. They built shelters, they cleared fields, they started families. Life at Roanoke was a constant struggle against the elements, against the wilderness, against their own limitations. They grew crops, they hunted game, they bartered with the native tribes. Their existence was a testament to human resilience, a small flame of civilization flickering in the vast darkness of the unknown. But their journey was far from over. They'd come to a land not their own, a land inhabited by people with their own cultures, languages, and ways of life. They'd come to a place untouched by the hands of man, where nature reigned supreme and the spirits of the land held sway. As they carved out their lives, they encountered the indigenous tribes, the Croatan and the Chesapeake. At first, there were tentative alliances, trading of goods and cautious steps towards understanding. But as the colony grew, so did tensions. Disputes over land, over resources, over ways of life flared into conflicts. The settlers, with their superior weapons and unyielding determination, often had the upper hand. Yet they, too, suffered defeats, learning the hard way the adaptability and ferocity of their newfound adversaries. These encounters weren't just battles over territory. They were clashes of two different worlds, each convinced of its own superiority, each determined to survive. Then there was the shadow that loomed over them all, the threat from beyond the sea, the threat from Spain. The Spanish, with their mighty galleons and fierce conquistadors, were a constant menace. The settlers lived in fear of attack, of enslavement, of the destruction of all they had built. In this precarious world, the colonists were caught between the hostility of the wilderness, the animosity of the natives, and the looming danger from Spain. It was a struggle on multiple fronts, a battle for survival in every sense of the word. But through it all, they held on. They rebuilt their homes after attacks, negotiated truces with the natives, and kept a vigilant watch on the horizon for any sign of the Spanish. Their story wasn't just about hardship and strife. It was a story of courage, of adaptation, of the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream of a new life on the edge of the known world. Their existence was a quiet rebellion against the darkness of the unknown, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. Governor John White was the leader of the Roanoke colony. A man in his mid-50s, he was chosen for his administrative experience and his unwavering commitment to the English cause. His appointment was part of a larger strategy by England to solidify its presence in North America, to establish a base from which they could challenge the dominance of the Spanish. For White, it was a chance to contribute to his country's glory and to carve his own legacy in the annals of exploration. He arrived at Roanoke with dreams of prosperity, of a colony that would flourish despite the odds. He envisioned a community that would not just survive, but thrive, a beacon of English achievement in the heart of the New World. But leading the colony was not the idyllic task he'd imagined. White found himself grappling with issues of governance, resource allocation, and the relentless challenges of the environment. Each decision was fraught with complexity. Each day brought new problems to solve. And yet he persevered, drawing strength from his duty and his vision for the colony. White was more than just an administrator. He was a father, a grandfather, a link to the world the colonists had left behind. His daughter, Eleanor Dare, settled in the colony and gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born in North America. These moments were not just personal milestones, they were symbolic representations of the colony's growth and its potential. For White, they were anchors to his humanity in the face of the immense challenges they confronted. When it came time for White to sail back to England for supplies, he did so with a heavy heart. He promised to return as soon as possible, pledging to bring back the necessary provisions and reinforcements. He left behind his daughter, his granddaughter, and the entire community, entrusting their fate to the mercy of the sea and the stars. He carried with him the hopes and dreams of an entire colony, the expectation that he would return to a thriving settlement, ready to take its next steps towards prosperity. But the sea had a way of humbling even the most seasoned sailors. War with Spain disrupted trade routes, inflamed tempests, and filled the seas with peril. And White found himself caught in the crossfire. Months turned into years, and the vibrant faces of the colony faded into distant memories. Each passing wave seemed to carry with it the echoes of the colonists' fading voices, their laughter, their struggles, their dreams. With each sunrise over the churning sea, White's resolve hardened. He adapted to the rhythms of the sea, finding solace in the camaraderie of fellow sailors, in the challenges of navigation, and in the sheer force of the ocean itself. He kept a sharp lookout for any sign of land, for any indication of his colony's fate. But the sea, like fate, was unpredictable and unyielding. When White finally returned, it was to a scene that defied belief and shattered hope. Roanoke was not just abandoned. It was erased. The settlement stood empty, silent, houses dismantled, fortifications stripped bare, as if the colony had vanished into thin air. Among the silent ruins, a single word was carved into a post: Croatoan. The word was a fragment of a story, a piece of a puzzle that didn't fit. Some believed the colonists fled to live with nearby tribes. Others suspected starvation, disease, or attack. But none of these explained the complete erasure, not a single grave, not a single human trace left behind. Some legends whispered of something darker. Native stories warned of a curse on the island, a spirit that fed on those who tried to claim its land. Some said the settlers angered ancient powers by cutting down sacred trees and draining the soil. Others claimed they turned to forbidden rituals when starvation set in, rituals that required blood. And then there is the most chilling tale of all, that the settlers never left Roanoke, that they were consumed, swallowed not by the earth, but by the island itself. Some locals insist they can still hear distant voices at night along the shore, children crying, women calling out, as if the missing colonists are forever trapped between worlds. Even today, visitors to Roanoke Island report strange happenings. They say the shadows move in the trees. Footsteps follow them in the dark. And then there's that sound again, carried on the wind, a whisper that seems to say, Croatoan. So here's the deal. History doesn't have all the answers. This story is a reminder of that. The mystery of Roanoke has never been solved. Historians continue to search for answers, but the silence of the island refuses to break. Maybe the truth is buried. Maybe it was erased. Or maybe the colonists are still there, unseen, waiting, cursed to wander the ruins of a dream that turned into a nightmare. It's me. Thanks for watching.